the garden's in need of some tidying. The heavy rains we had in July meant that it's never really recovered, well, certainly some plants haven't, and today's October the 4th and there is work to be done. But I'm not doing it today because on the wall behind the camera something I want to show you, and it's something that in a quite welcome way rounds off a video that I've had for a couple of months now. I just didn't know how to present that video. But now I do. This hummingbird hawk moth, tucked under the top ledge of the Bee Hotel, either arrived here yesterday evening and has stayed there overnight. It seems very well settled, but these moths can up and fly off at great speed within a millisecond. It could have been here since early this morning and already have had a feed in the garden. Just shows that bee hotels can attract other things other than bees, but this does provide perfect opportunity to a couple of months ago when I was given a GoPro to have a play around with. I did, and I walked out of the house, up the yard, and lo and behold, one of these was in the garden. Nothing particularly unusual in that, and I started filming the hummingbird hawk moth as it was nectared on various flowers, including valerian and geranium. And then all of a sudden it flew around a little bit, and I thought it was going to open off as they often do, but it didn't. It just came around the garden and found the lady's bedstraw that I have in the garden, which I planted last year purely in an attempt to get what resulted from this particular female. I'll just play you the footage in a minute. I was completely shocked, surprised and elated that the planting of that lady's bedstraw a year ago had paid dividends within a year, and that female produced some eggs. A total of 4 at least that I know to, and one hatched out as an adult moth only last week. And here we are on October the 4th, and this hummingbird hawk moth has come to pay a visit to the garden. It's not the one that hatched. This is quite a different individual actually, but a fresh individual nonetheless. And so the rest of this video is going to be footage from the GoPro of a hummingbird hawk moth that paid a visit to Market Warsop, and in this little terraced garden deposited at least 4 eggs. Well, I didn't know this was here. I'll just come out to try this. That's amazing. Good grief, it's gonna lay. It's gonna lay. Yeah. It's still here. It's quite made my little day, this, finding a hummingbird hawk moth resting on the walls. Something that I've had countless times here. Fast approaching seeing 200 hummingbird hawk moths in Nottinghamshire. And most have been in this garden. It shows the advantages of planting your garden up with nectar-bearing plants. This is too small a garden to warrant creating any kind of habitat, and even if I did, it would be short-lived and pointless, because once I leave here at some time, whoever comes in is likely to just trash the place and dig it all up anyway. So there's no point in me creating any kind of brilliant habitat here. But what I can provide is a nectar source and potentially a food plant for one or two species, and that's what I did, and aimed at completely at attracting hummingbird hawk moths. And planting this garden up has been incredibly successful. I've had nearly 200 individual hummingbird hawk moths, and that's just in Nottinghamshire, and most of those have been in the garden behind me, all attracted here because I planted it up with plants like valerian and Verbena bodneriensis just over my shoulder here, but they do turn up with other plants. And planting ladies' bedstraw proved successful within a year. I can't believe it. It's probably one of the highlights of my year, getting the hummingbird hawk moth caterpillars in the garden. I didn't think it'd happen, at least not for a few years. But plant your garden up, plant a bucket up or a window box, and that will attract something. If you plant the right plants, you'll always attract insects.